Hey, it's your main man Mega with another episode of the Vintage House Show. We are early this evening. Normally we kick it off at 9 p.m. Central, but it's a holiday and we know everyone's getting together within their own homes and households to celebrate this festive season. The most wonderful time of the year, and we're hoping to make it just as wonderful by bringing you another good episode of the Vintage House Show. It's not just another good episode, it's a great episode because with me tonight, I've got at least two of three special guests that are slated for tonight's show. Want to begin, ladies first, with the lovely, talented, and gifted DJ Drea.
Hello. It's long E though, Drea.
It's good to have you with us, and happy holidays to you.
You too.
Next up, another talented and gifted DJ. This gentleman has a flair for the color purple. His name is DJ Purple, and he is also known as Reggie Davenport. And welcome to the Vintage House Show, Reggie.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So if both of you could, I'm for some reason having a little trouble hearing you. The volume's a little low, but hopefully everyone in the internets are able to hear you well. We're here every Wednesday night, as I shared earlier. This show is powered by the Modern Dance Music Research and Archiving Foundation, which is the only foundation in the world focused on preserving the history, the memories, the business, the paraphernalia that is house music. And we are normally joined by my co-host, Lori Branch, and our super duper producer, Lauren Lowry. They're either both getting an early start to the holidays or might be joining us at some point later in the broadcast. But for now, I am excited to have a great conversation about a couple of things. But before we get into the convo, I wanted to ensure that everyone watching tonight knows the history of these two great DJs. And I'll again start with you, DJ Drea. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in house music, where you grew up, where you attended high school, all the good things that really are essential to connecting those of us in the house music community.
Okay, well, thank you again. So my name is Andrea, so long E, so I go by DJ Drea. But I graduated high school in '86. I went to Lynn Bloom, swoop swoop, and actually in '86 is where I learned when I learned to DJ. My cousin, who's actually a little younger than me, taught me like the basics, and I made my first house mixtape then. And then I went away to the service after graduating high school. I went to the Marine Corps for 4 years, and life took over after that. And then I would say in 2008, at the time I was living in Champaign, Illinois, working at the University of Illinois. Um, and I went over a friend's house, and he had what I didn't know was called that, but it was a controller at the time, but I didn't know what it was. All I saw was it was an all-in-one device, and it had the two decks and a mixer built in, and I thought it was the most awesome thing I had ever seen. And I was like, wait a minute, I have CDs, I love music, I'm gonna get one of those, and maybe I can start doing this DJing thing or mixing again, like I did, some years ago. And basically that's what I did. Actually, I'm sorry, it was 2007. And so I got familiar with the device and I started making mixes. And I basically got my first paying gig in Champaign in 2008. And I guess I could say the rest of is history because I started playing down there and doing private gigs. And I would play up here in Chicago at a few events, um, mostly in the LGBTQ community at parties. And so I don't, people didn't really know me. I really didn't know people, to be honest with you, because I wasn't really going out a lot. I was having my moments going out to parties, but I really wasn't in the scene, I guess. And yeah, in 2013, I decided to move back to Chicago. And it was funny when I got back, I was like, uh, I love DJing. I just do it because I love music and I like putting music together. I think I have a good ear for it, talent, all that, so on and so forth. And I was like, so I probably won't get the chance to DJ up here because it's just saturated, right? There's DJs everywhere. And I was just like, I never get an opportunity. And to my surprise, I got opportunities. I met people that gave me a chance. And I kind of say I was like this girl that just showed up with my laptop and my headphones and said, is there an opportunity here? And people gave me an opportunity. And I just been pretty blessed because I never thought that I would get an opportunity to play in the different venues that I've played in, events, hanging out with certain DJs, being befriended by certain DJs. I just never thought that that would ever happen. And for me, it really didn't matter if it did or not because I just love the art and the art form and I respect it so much. I just wanted to express myself in that way, So the fact that people would pay me to do it and and
Word.
follow me and listen to me, that's just that's the ultimate. That's the cherry on top. You know what I'm saying? So I would be creating no matter what. So
So
yeah.
I love the story, and it embodies a lot of what the spirit of house music represents, right? It is a genre that embraces others and others' gifts and talents. But I'm curious, you said you hung out with a number of DJs that I'm assuming maybe had those connections and were really ingrained in the community. But leading up to that moment when you were in Champaign and you discovered someone's controller, surely there had to be someone or uh, something else that inspired you and influenced you to pursue this.
I mean, I've been around music all my life. I mean, my family, my mom and my dad, we just play music all the time. I learned the entire Al Jarreau This Time album because my mother played it over and over and over and over and over again. Right. So I was just around music all the time. So, when I became an adult and moved out on actually backtrack, when I was in the service, I started collecting tapes and, again, from my love of music, I still have 120 cassette tape holders in my basement. Then I moved to CDs. So I just loved music. And then when I moved to Champaign, I started making, I guess you would call them mixtapes or something. It wasn't mixes, it was just me putting together collaborations of music that I thought went together. And so when I saw the controller, it just made me think about the fact that I love music and I like to put things together. And now I have a way to do it, because even though I had been introduced to the art in 86, I didn't know anything about purchasing turntables or even a mixer or anything. I didn't know how to do that. So the controller was a great way for me to take what I had learned, and then use it again, but using technology that will allow me to, do blending and mixing and put all those ideas that I could hear in my head, actually putting them down. And then the ironic part about me not knowing anything about turntables and stuff like that, when I was in Champaign, one of the places that I would play, they had this called Radio Maria. They had open decks. So the DJ would come and set up his turntable and his mixer, and then people would come and play. Some people brought vinyl, and Serato was out with the Control Records. And so I was like, if I'm going to play on that, I need to learn how to use Serato with the turntables. So it actually forced me to go out and purchase turntables and a mixer. So I asked my cousin who taught me, where do I get turntables from? What's a good mixer? So I was buying stuff on eBay and all of that. And then when I would come up and play in Chicago, they had CDJs everywhere. And I remember the first gig, my friend John Fleming, he was going to book me for. It was at the Excalibur. And I was saying something about my controller. And he was like, you can't bring your controller in there. And I was like, well, what do I do? And he was like, no, they use CDJs. And I'm like, well, what the heck is a CDJ? So I had to call my cousin. What's a CDJ? Da, 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 da. So then I went and had to learn how to play on that with Serato, And I can remember I was at a party, DJ Phantom did. Sorry. I just remember him saying, you got to get your DJ on. You got to get your DJ on. He was doing like the baby scratch move, but I don't think you could hear him doing the baby scratch, but he was like, you got to get your DJ on, and Little John showed me how to loop the song, loop the control CD. And so I was like, okay, so this is cool. So just, again, I don't know how I ended up in these places. I just ended up around these people in these situations. And all it took was just one thing, just me seeing that controller. And then I was like, Eureka, now we're about to connect all these dots. And
so this is great and powerful, because thematically our last few shows have been talking about, succession planning, ensuring that the next generation of DJs is ready to take the reins, right? No, we're not saying we're giving up the reins, but we want to ensure that the genre continues to flourish. Someone working in the trenches for a long time to help the genre flourish, Reggie Davenport, also known as DJ Purple. This man has, and this is in a complimentary way I say this, you've been around the block with making music happen and getting people to move on the dance floor. Tell us about your start and origins, and what is really the inspiration for you around being involved with this music.
Okay, well, I'll start off with my birthplace being in Chicago. I grew up in Chatham on 84th and Ellis, went to grammar school at Sabarboro, and then went to high school at Lindblom as well. Swoop, swoop.
Wow, I didn't realize we were going to have an all Lindblom show here.
Yes, maroon and gold taking over.
Our super producer Lauren Lowry, of course, is a Lindblom Eagle.
Right. So backtracking to my Sabarboro days, I discovered house music by way of WBMX. And it was funny that, and I only made this discovery pretty recently, that even though I discovered the hot mix culture through WBMX, the music was always exposed to me because my aunt was kind of like a closet house head as well. I discovered that a lot of the stuff that she had played in the house was actually being played on WBMX. It was just that at that time I was able to listen on my own accord and actually discover how this stuff was being transmitted on the radio. So I started listening and making tapes, recording stuff, making pause, mix edits, and all that kind of stuff, collecting records. I also got into the service when I graduated. I graduated in '89, got into the Air Force. And it was during that time when I really started to get a little bit, not really extremely homesick, but I felt like, okay, I know I can come back to Chicago at least once a year, but while I'm out here at the base that I'm at, I'm going to just have a piece of home with me. So I made it a point every time I came back home to just keep making tapes, bringing them back with me. Eventually, I graduated into getting my own equipment after nearly getting some turntables from a pawn shop. I just got lucky that this guy in my dorm building was actually selling turntables. He sold 2 Technic 1200s, a mixer, a coffin to hold everything, and 2 crates of records. I was already mail ordering stuff at the time, so all I had to do was just get the equipment from him, and then I can kind of teach myself how to actually blend the records together. And then on a fateful time in 1994, I got transfer orders to the UK, and that's when things really started to take off, because that's the time when I actually really started to play house music on a regular basis in front of an audience. That's also where I actually changed my name to DJ Purple. So started playing out and around in all the clubs.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Wait a second. You can't just slide that in there. I just changed my name to DJ Purple. You got to.
How did I do that?
Story behind it. It could have been DJ Green. It could have been DJ Red. Why Purple, my man?
Well, okay. So the way that went down was I got into the UK in about July of '94. By that time, I had already made about 4 or 5 mixtapes just to hand out to people on base where I was at before in Florida. So I get to the UK, I finally get my stuff, and I start to play out in this pub called Muswell's in Peterborough, which was about 10 minutes away from my base. And I'm working with 2 other guys, no, actually 3 other guys, and just doing my thing. You know, near the end of my set, the MC was whispering in my ear, just asking me what my name was so that he can announce it to the crowd, because it was my first time there actually playing. And in my mind's eye, I was thinking to myself, I really don't want to use my name as the DJ name, because Reggie Davenport just doesn't really have that house music flair to it. I love my name, but it just doesn't fit house music to me. And then I got to thinking, okay, so I know back in the day, Farley used Yellow House as a name when he did Jack My Body. And then I also remember that one of my other favorite people, Kashmir, has an alter ego of Green Velvet when he does his like real hard tracks. So if these 2 guys could use colors in their name, what could I do that's any worse than that? You know, I can't do any worse than use a color. And that's like, purple is my favorite color. House is my favorite genre.
Yes.
So when he whispered in my ear, like, so what's your name, mate? I just told him DJ Purple. And I went with it and stuck with it.
Nice.
And then eventually I started changing it when I was doing my playlistings on my mixtapes too. So,
okay. I knew there had to be a story there.
Yeah, so I just went with that. Playing on and off bass, mostly off bass, because on bass, you got to figure you've got a military community of people from all over the U.S. Even though they're at an overseas location, they still have U.S. kind of stuff. You know, they're pretty mainstream, so they're going to be more into hip hop and R&B. But off bass, anywhere I went, whether it was Cambridge, London, for sure, house music was ruling. And shout out to Bobby and Steve. I'm representing for them with my my sweater here. These guys were really tearing it down. I got a chance to spin with them a few times during the later part of the 90s. Again, all up and down the countryside, and just had a blast with it. I did a full career in the Air Force for 24 years. Every place that I went, I made sure to try to represent house music in some kind of way, whether it be walking around base with my boombox playing a Mike Dunn tape, or driving down the street with the windows down and the volume up, playing my tapes in the car, or of course spinning at the clubs, just whatever. I was always just trying to take the house music with me. Finally, after I got my last duty assignment before I retired, I got back to Illinois in about 2010. And I figured, okay, I want to stay in Kenosha, which is midway between Chicago and Milwaukee. That way I can kind of still see what's going on in Chicago and kind of work my way in real slowly. Because, yes, Chicago is a big city. You have at least 100 DJs. I'm still active duty, so I got a job to do. But at least on the weekends, I could just kind of come home, see what's happening, and just kind of slowly work my way in. And finally, I was able to kind of get in and do a few things in and around town and then get out. Once I got into radio, that's when I started to coast. Because another little known fact was that while I was in Florida the first time, I came this close to getting a radio show while I was still mail ordering and everything. Even before I got the equipment, I was interning at a college station in Melbourne, Florida, WFIT, for Florida Institute of Technology.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of my internship, I applied for an FCC license. It was one of those yellow cards that you had to carry with you in order to do a radio show.
Oh, yeah. Remember those.
And at that time, it turned out that the FCC had changed their policy that the license was no longer required. So all I had to do was just kind of sit tight, wait and see what openings would pop up at the station. But the only thing that prevented me from trying to launch that radio show was getting my transfer orders to go to the UK. It's like, well, okay, go to the UK, stay in Florida and do a radio show. That was an easy decision for me.
I'm sure.
So I just went to the UK, but I did finally at least get a chance to get heard on radio. Ironically enough, in 1997, when I came home, I hustled my way into getting one of my mixtapes played on WKKC as a guest mix. So that was the way that I could finally at least get heard on radio and get a taste of what it was like to hear one of your mixes played back on the radio. Like that was like a really big deal. I had to call all of my family and say, hey, I'm on the radio. I'm on KKC. Tune in right now. And yeah, they tuned in. And then, of course, years later, I'm actually really finally doing it for myself, hosting a radio show.
Awesome. Incredible story. Having spent time, really proliferating house music overseas and helping to build, the genre in that way. I was going to ask, in Florida, did you have a chance to get any club residencies, any performances within clubs, or was it all, in pursuit of radio?
So the first time I was in Florida, it was from 1990 to 1994. And at that time, there wasn't really much that I could see in the way of me trying to get into the clubs. There were a couple of clubs that I actually went to, but not as a resident. There was this one club called Tropicana in Cocoa Beach. And it was a well-to-do type of club. You had to have like a little bit of a dress code to get in. Funny thing though, I heard two songs in there that I never thought I would hear. One was by a guy called Gino Latino. I can't remember the name of the track that I heard, but I remember the artist was Gino Latino. Another track that I heard, which blew me away when I heard it, and I'm like, whoa, they really doing a come up. I heard Lil Lewis, I Called You, played in the club.
Yeah.
So that gave me some hope. I'm like, ooh, I could probably do something if the radio thing takes off. Then there was another club called Mars, which suited more to the rave culture and a lot of the break beats and all of that kind of stuff. But now the second time I was in Florida, I was in Fort Walton Beach. That's when I got back from the UK. This was in 2001. I did manage to play a couple of clubs in Pensacola, and I also played a couple of spots in Tallahassee. Okay. Not necessarily as a resident, but just like a regular guest DJ.
Yes.
So there were some opportunities growing in certain pockets in Florida.
Very good. And I'll ask you the same question. I heard you name drop a few of Chicago's pioneering DJs, but who was one of your biggest influences?
So that's hard to say, because all I know is in high school I used to listen to the radio, Hot Mix 5, BMX, GCI, KKC, but I unfortunately I can't say this was my favorite DJ. I don't even remember. I just remember I loved the music, and I was caught up in it. And even when I went away, I would try to find a way to, listen, get a hold of it or some kind of way. But unfortunately, I can't say who made me want to do it other than my cousin teaching me, and me just loving the genre.
Name drop your cousin.
Oh, my cousin, DJ Chris Lust, like that's my dude. Like he's my muse. I love him because just I kind of, even though I'm older than him, like 4 years older than him, I still feel like I was like the little sister that's like, get away here, from here, kid. This is some real equipment stuff, get out of here. But he was willing to show me, the ropes, the basics, and I love him for it because the lessons that he showed me was for some basic things. I hold them to this very day. And then when I listen to some of the mixes that he's made, I'm so inspired by him, like the music and even the style. I have this habit of doing homages to people. It could be a mix I heard by them. There's this DJ Ray Dilla. I used to buy his mixes at just for the sin of it. I've never met him, but I just used to love his music. And I would basically, now, since I do my own show, I basically found all the songs that I could find from the CDs that I've bought over the years, and I just found a way to pay a homage to him by creating a mix using the songs. Maybe not necessarily in the same order or the same way, with my style, but the music was so good, I just had to do it.
So, where can we hear you? You just alluded to having your own show, and it sounds like something on a regular basis. Let the audience know where they can check you out.
Yes, so I have my own YouTube channel, DJ Drea Music, or if you just search for DJ Drea on YouTube. On Sundays between 12 and 2, I just play house music 2 hours. But the other place you can hear me is on WKKC. So I play on Fridays, well, at least my mixes play on Fridays from 4 to 5.
So we've got a lot. Everyone on tonight's show has a lot in common. So I want to go back and first of all, thank you both for your service to the Marines and the Air Force. We appreciate you, and thank you for that sacrifice that you've made. Second, not only is our producer Lauren Lowry a Lindblom Eagle, but also co-host Lori Branch is also a Lindblom Eagle. So I am well outnumbered as I went to St. Francis House, the home of the pioneers. But I do have Chatham in common with you, Reggie. I grew up on 84th and Langley in Chatham Village, just on the other side. I did not go to Dixon or Peary, however. But once, I broke free from Chatham and discovered house music in a host of different places. I too became hooked, went down to Champaign. So Drea and I have Champaign in common as well. And really did some radio and then a lot of the fraternity and, student organization parties. So more to come about that. But I really had hoped to dig into the topic tonight of when the DJ becomes the artist. And Reggie Hall, who is one of those who's done just that, was someone I wanted to get their perspective on from an artist's perspective. But talk about any aspirations either of you might have for moving from DJ to artist. Who wants to go? Purple, why don't you go?
Well, okay, so I'm about to drop a bomb here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because this is hilarious.
It's the Benny Tell Show. We're ready. We're bomb proof.
All right, so I mentioned, of course, growing up in Lindblom. When I was at Lindblom, that place was like house central. I really had no idea how serious people were about house music at that school, which was cool because I was starting to get serious about listening to the mixes and all that kind of stuff. Now, I did take a short break during my my junior year. Got a little bored with the music, and so I just kind of branched off into other stuff. But I got right back in during my senior year, And it was during that time where it was myself and 3 other people. We had thought about trying to come together to see if we could make a track. We were going to call ourselves MOA, which would have stood for Men of Action. I was going to basically be the DJ per se, because I had this one record that everybody thought would be really good to kind of use samples and scratching off of. It was like a kid's record, but it had to do with Batman. So we want to take a piece of that and maybe try to chop it up and sample it. So that was going to be my responsibility. Then another guy was actually a musician. His name was Kahari. He played, if I remember correctly, he played saxophone. And then another guy was going to do drum programming. And then one other guy was going to just kind of like lend a hand and try to configure beats and do the structures that way. But we were going to get together, maybe try to do a track. And one of the guys had even made a suggestion on a label that we would probably sign with. I never heard of the label at the time, but the guy had mentioned Stride Records. So we had all this stuff in mind and we were going to try to work on it, but stuff fell through. We never really got together to do it. But yeah, we had aspirations to actually do music. And this was well before I even started DJing. I didn't start DJing until 1994. So that's my bomb drop there that I was this close to being an artist. But nowadays, what is funny is that over the last, I'd say maybe the last year, I would talk to various people, they would hear my sets and all that kind of stuff. And they would be totally gutted when I tell them that I have no productions. I haven't released any music at all. I don't do any producing. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. But they're just so amazed because it's like, dude, you have such an ear for it. You should be producing. And I'm like, well, I never had the resources. I never really had the time. I was in service. The mission came first. It was not something that I really thought about. And plus, I was just so entrenched into just doing the DJing that production was never really a thought. Although I could be in the house and I can just kind of piddle around with stuff, do some samples just to have a little fun with it, but not really want to do anything serious about it. But since people have been putting the ideas in my head, you never know, maybe the day will come when somebody approaches me and want to do something serious and I can take them up on it. But
all right,
we'll see.
So the day almost arrived and may be back again someday. Certainly quarantine in the house has inspired a lot of people to try to dig in. But you're right. If you want to produce and write and do it with excellence, you got to have the resources in place. And that's a major investment. But also partnering and collaborating is something we've seen very often among some of the guests on the show. But I want to hear from you, Drea, about your thoughts and aspirations of moving from DJ to artist.
So I would say I feel like I'm already an artist, right? Because I just feel like
good answer.
Expressing myself, like this is just one medium in which I, express myself, DJing, but I write poetry, I'm a musician, and sometimes I create edits, live edits. I've never just taken a song and been like, this is the DJ Drea edit of something, but I do it all the time. I hear edits and I'm like, well, I could do that. You hear a slow song or a song that's, 4/4, but they put it over a 2/4, house beat. And I'm like, I could do that. All I need is the acapella of something or something that melodically goes together with another, song, and I could do the same thing. I think of Teresa Griffin's Wonderful. I think it's the original. I really don't know, but I heard a version of it that's 116 beats per minute. Speed it up a little, but it's a slow song. But you speed it up, you put it under a faster beat, and that's a house edit, you know. So now you're giving someone another version of the song. They love the words, it's the lyrics of the song that people love. So I'm like, well, why can't I do that, you know? So I experiment with songs and wordplay and stuff all the time in house music. Sometimes I'm torn because uh, in some situations I've been told that's kind of like a no-no, you know, in house music rather. And so,
What would you elaborate a little bit on that? What exactly is sort of forbidden fruit?
okay, so I've heard that scratching is a no-no. Either doing the action or looking as if you're about to do the action, which I don't know how you can't look that way if you're playing vinyl because you can't hit the start button to play the record. But anyway, that's what I was told. That just doing the baby scratch look is a violation. Just hearing the baby scratch is a violation. Playing slow songs as house music is a violation, which I just described to you. People do it all the time. They make edits all the time. They take a slow track, they put it over a house beat, and it's a house edit, you know. Um, I I double, I transition, I do transforms, I do anything that I've learned how to do from well, okay, so I went to DJing school in 2015, and this just fully opened up my world, and this is why I learned all these other skills. But ever since I learned them, I just incorporate them in every genre of music that I DJ, including house music. And I've just been kind of like I said, been torn because people, well, not really torn because I still do it, but it does make me wonder, like, I feel like there's a right way to do things, right? To DJ. I do feel like there's a right and a wrong way, right? But then I wonder sometimes, is there just a different way, you know, to do things? Like, is
So,
it really a violation? But
so violation, style.
disrespect.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not talk about it in the context of this is my style, this is what I like to do, and I get what you're saying. I know that there's pressure, right? There's commentary and critique that goes along with you know, spinning in, especially in a market like Chicago. However, if it's your style, do your thing, right?
Right.
It may not be a widely accepted style or embraced, and I think that's maybe where there's that internal conflict. But Purple, I'd be curious to hear your perspective on this notion of style and technique on the DJ side.
So one thing that I also did, and I remember doing this in the UK, just again, as I said, I was just kind of experimenting, just having fun with stuff. So to Dria's point, I did actually take a slow song and layer it over a beat track, and it sounded quite nice. What I did was I took SWV Weak, and I dropped it over the instrumental. Actually, you call it the beats, the sensational beats from Kenlu. What a Sensation.
Yeah.
So I did it over those beats. It sounded great. So sometimes you just want to experiment. And really, if you want to think about somebody who cheated, he cheated, but he really didn't cheat. It was Paul Johnson, because he took a hook from Weak and he dropped it over something else, which was kind of like from the Percolator, and everybody went crazy over it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to cheat. You just got to just get creative and just do whatever works.
But, you know, and so we're not going to dig into semantics. We'll call it innovation. And because in that process of taking something that exists and improving upon it, or making it go a different direction than it was intended, is innovation. And the art and craft of DJing has to do a lot with innovation, right? And so what you guys have been describing is a lot of that. And certainly I think it has led to artistry, right? And I didn't mean to put anyone in a box that was not artistry, because certainly as DJs, you're also artists.
Right.
But in terms of performing and creating, producing, new original music or tracks, or, even putting together those elements as you were both describing, as a process, that's artistry. That's craft work, to use a different term. But some people have, taken it to a level where they've abandoned DJing, or at least DJing is not their primary artistry, and yet they have become musicians or singers or performers. And so that was part of what we, were looking to get some perspective on, right? Those people who move from DJing as their primary way of expressing themselves to becoming the artist first, the performing artist.
And I definitely want to do that. I mean, like Purple was saying, it's a matter of resources and time. I took a production class, so I have the Ableton software. I get it. I made a track, when I took the class. Actually, it was a transition track, so it started off at like 90 beats per minute, and I transitioned it to 120 because I wanted to start off doing certain tricks, at the slower speed, but then I wanted to end up playing house music at the end. So I get that, and I want to do that. I mean, my goal is to be to make original works. Actually in 2021, I hope to actually lay something down. It won't be a house track. I don't think that'll be my first creation. But definitely, I have poems that I want to put over music, that I want to put over my music that I create versus other people's music, that I'm testing the poem or the lyrics out on right now. So yeah, I would love to do it. That is definitely something on my bucket list.
All right. Well, you heard it here on the Vintage House Show. Any producers that want to get with DJ Drea? She's got poems, she's got lyrics, she's got ideas. She's been experimenting. She is ready to go. As is DJ Purple, who has indeed, as he says, dabbled. And I think, again, one of the opportunities for coming on this show is the opportunity to find ways to collaborate within the house music community. So hopefully you guys can do that. This being the end of the year, or very close to it, I also wanted to find out from you, look, we've acknowledged time and time again, 2020 is the least favorite year of a lifetime. However, there still has been some great creativity that's occurred. And so I'd be curious if any of you have picks musically from this year's releases that you would care to share. Your top picks musically from 2020. Something you might have included in your recent show last Sunday, Drea, or you, Reggie, in any of your virtual mix sessions. Thoughts?
Drea, go first. I'm gonna look something up. I gotta look something up here.
He's putting you on the spot, yes. But I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna go.
I gotta look something up because I do have a couple of favorites, but I don't want to misquote them.
So I'm gonna give a shout out to Steve Miggity Maestro. Like,
okay, go.
I remember hearing his name, coming up or whatever, but I got a chance to actually meet him. I got a chance to actually DJ with him. And then I found out he made not just house music, but stepping music. So, I've played his songs and stepping mixes that I've made. I've played his music in house mixes that I've made. So he really puts out, really good stuff. Like, and it's a range of really good music. So definitely have to give him a shout out. But the other thing that I would say is Elements of Life, like the Louis Vega, like again in both genres, they make, you know, definitely he makes awesome house tracks, but the step-in tracks, they make step-in music too, or mid-tempo, slow tempo, you know, like 90 beats per minute kind of stuff. It's so dope as well. One World, that song, oh my god, it's everything to me, because it's got that beat that makes you think you're like a like you're listening to Bostitch, you know, because it's really heavy with the drums and stuff. But then the horns are in there. It's got the breaks, and then it ends up just being like some smooth jazz up tempo track. I mean, it's highs, and I could just see the music. it's I love that song. It's so exciting to me. And then it's Latin, you know, so you can do your salsa. I mean, it is such a dope track. So I would say that one for me stands out. Like, and I don't even know if it came out in 2020. I just know
I was just gonna ask next if
I just heard it and I was just blown away. So yeah, that would be my pick.
all right, we'll take it. You're up, Reg.
Okay, so actually, I was looking for a couple of playlists from a recent show and a couple of upcoming shows, but I'm going to break my picks up into two sections.
Okay.
One, a couple of individuals that have really just blown it away from me. One individual is Terry Hunter. I've been a fan of Terry's for like forever. And one of the perks that I had of being overseas when I was in the UK, you know, of course, people love him to death. And so I was able to find out when he was coming over well ahead of time, always catching him in the show. So he's always been innovative. But this year, he's just been like on another planet, like all of his stuff. I'm looking at one.
I'm just going to interject. Glad to say that he is free of the virus and is doing well. He posted a message earlier this week. So shout out to TH. Definitely a master innovator in 2020.
Oh, and by the way, I also remember that you mentioned this quite a few times.
Oh, look at you. My one
mix on here.
The Megadeth
mix on here.
When
I got this in the UK, by the way.
Well, that was where the remix was most embraced.
Exactly, yeah. So that's just a little segue there. But on my playlist, I've got Megan McNeil with Getaway. Oh my gosh, that track. That track is just insane.
Megan O'Neill, Getaway. Yeah, definitely. We just lost your audio.
Definitely on my playlist.
Okay, you're back.
So that's by way of a person. Now the other thing is a record label who I'm also representing today. Let me bring this back some. Karmic Power Records. Karmic Power Records is a label out of New York City. It's operated by legendary DJ / producer / remixer Lenny Fontana.
Yes.
He has been releasing some serious heat this year. Oh my goodness. I can't even pinpoint a record right off the top of my head. I was desperately trying to look on my playlist and I can't find one that I could just spot because there's just so many. So 2020 has been good for me musically because of his releases, along with Terry just being ridiculous.
Well, I've got to give, I appreciate those picks, and I've got to give a shout out to the team that brought us Never Fall in Love with the DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Immaculate, yes. Carla Prather, Byron Stingley, the whole Tease Box crew. That was certainly one of my faves. And of course, I'm biased because we had Carla Prather here on the show at the time it was dropping, and we actually got a sneak exclusive when Byron Stingley came on the show. And so that moment and memory for me in 2020 makes that one of Mega's picks for the year. But there's more. there's more, and we'll post them on the Vintage House Show page and Mega Presents Philosophical Grooves pages. So stay tuned for that 2020 picks list. But we are certainly here with DJ Drea and DJ Purple, chopping it up about their history in house music, about their perspective on DJs becoming performing artists. And I really did put them on the spot to ask them about their top picks. So I'm glad you guys are assertive and you didn't shy away from that challenge of coming up with them on the fly. So I wanted to spend some of the last few minutes that we have for tonight's show also talking about the transition of disco to house music. It's a frequent topic on the show. We talk a lot about, you know, the timing and when that happened, and events like the disco demolition at Comiskey that really sparked driving the, you know, genre of danceable music underground. I'm curious about your perspectives. I was watching the other night, of course, being home a lot, the Bee Gees documentary, right? Have you guys seen that?
It's so dope.
I haven't seen it yet, but I have it on the agenda.
So you gotta check it out. Yeah. And Drea, you having seen it, you know, it covers a lot. No spoilers for anyone, but it covers a lot of, you know, what happened to ultimately drive, you know, danceable music to the underground. And thankfully that happened, because again, I think it really gave way to this genre that we all know and love. But thoughts, and I know Purple, you were, again, you said 2001, you were starting to in radio and around the bases. Can you talk about what you experienced during that time?
So in 2001, it was kind of interesting. I still kind of take a joke and say that when I got back from the States, I still had the UK stink on me because because it was just basically, I was surrounded by house music all the time. It's one thing to know, okay, yeah, house music is popular in the UK by hearsay. You know, people talk about it. But then once you go over there and you talk to the people and you live next door to people and you hear it on the radio, you see it in the magazines, you go to the clubs, like for instance, Ministry of Sound, Super Club, World Renowned Club. They open at 11 o'clock. They close at 9 in the morning. Every week. So this is what you are exposed to. This is how you live and breathe it. And I was there for 7 years. All of a sudden, I'm in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and I don't hear a lick of house music. So I was just still kind of seeking it out. Now, I got lucky. I was able to rig up my computer that I was actually able to pick up this radio station in London, BBC Radio 1 Extra, so I could still kind of keep in touch with what was going on with the scene. And it was a great avenue for me to still stay true to the house music stuff. But around the base, it was crazy. I really didn't see much. I had to travel to get to Tallahassee because that was like a 2.5-hour drive. Pensacola was okay, but it wasn't until about 2005 where I can actually feel at home again, because I had transfer orders to Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's where there was a scene. So what I was noticing was that the music itself was definitely quite underground. You really had to seek it out. It was not readily accessible like it was in the UK. And then, of course, you come back home, you're really right back to normalcy. That was a lot of stuff that I was noticing. during those times.
So it's interesting because when you see this documentary about the Bee Gees, of course they took some dramatic license, if you will, but the Bee Gees themselves indicated that they were under siege because they were seen as the epitome of disco era bands, and they were threatened with death threats and a whole lot that really put their desire to just creatively express themselves at stake. So it's interesting, and then I would imagine that different parts of the country were experiencing different responses to the whole thing. So Drea, share your perspective of what happened back then and what you saw as really giving birth to the genre of house.
So again, I feel so ignorant in a sense, right? Because I can't really speak to that experience. I'm born in '68. I know what disco is. I've heard it. I've listened to it, right? I love house music, but unfortunately, I can't say like, and I wasn't in the clubs. I, spent 4 years away, so I have a gap there. So I just know that I like music. I don't know if, coming up. When I was listening to it, if I would even be able to say, oh, that's a disco song or that's house music, being able to even separate the genres. All that I know is now I can appreciate it. And I would say the thing that's made me appreciate it more nowadays is me buying, collecting, and playing vinyl. DJ J2, um, um, James Vincent, Cordell Johnson. These guys let me play with them a couple of years ago at Danny's Bar. That forced me to go and buy music. DJ Milliman, shout out to him for working unfortunately the record store is escaping me, but forced me to go buy vinyl. Bought some songs, some 45s off of J2, some albums. I bought some music from DJ Emmanuel. And so just listening to this stuff, I'm just so amazed at all the good music that has been around, and I wasn't even aware of it. Just Jackson, not Jackson 5, but I'm sorry, not Michael Jackson, but the Jacksons, like a whole album just full of great stuff. Roy Ayers. I love this song, Why Leave Us Alone. I feel like I've heard it in my lifetime, but now that I'm familiar with it, I love that song. Moody Man. These are songs that some of the songs my cousin was playing in his mix that I recently did an homage to. I'm sorry, not Moody Man, but Bohannon. So, everybody knows Let's Start to Dance, but they made, some other songs, foot stomping music, Do What You Want to Do. I think it's called Me and the Gang, which listening to that, it made me think of the get down, dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, is that where the sample came from? So again, just hearing these songs, these disco songs where I hear where the sample came from for some other song that I love today, some house track or some, hip hop song or whatever. So so for me, that's kind of like the only perspective that I could talk about it from. Just me, I guess, becoming familiar with this genre of music and falling in love with it, for the first time, I guess, because I really wasn't aware, but I'm so appreciative that I've ventured down this road because it's just totally opened my mind and my perspective. Shahid Mustaf, I was just on a set with him and Cordell and the guys at the end of October, and his set was so dope because it was like, all these, I guess I would call rare grooves,
Yes.
which is kind of like what J2 does as well. And it's just dope stuff. James Brown, Rap Payback, never heard of it. My cousin played it in his mix. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's a dope track. So I'm just saying, like, I'm just excited because I'm like, woo, it's new, but it's not. It's new to me, So that's, I don't know. That's,
No, you make a tremendous point here, because what is essential to good music, right, is its timeliness, it being pristine, it having the ability to cross eras and to be repurposed, and you know, that is really the essence of good music that gets into the spirit and soul of a person, and you know, resonates through you know, a variety of memories and experiences. And for the DJ, the ability to take that music and to weave it into a journey, right, that that the people on the dance floor or someone listening in their car or wherever they might be enjoying the music can be taken to. And I think you referenced that very eloquently earlier on in talking about being able to visualize a song. And so kudos to both of you for what you do for the genre of house, for your skills and craft work on the decks, regardless of whether you're playing on CDJs, a controller, or some SL 1200 MK2s. It is magical whenever you're able to make it happen. Shout out to Louis Green, who's tuned in. Nikki G, Lee Williams, thanks for commenting with us. Before we close out tonight's Christmas week episode of Vintage House Show, of course, this is the Mega Presents Philosophical Grooves edition, and so we have a philosophical question.
Gotta do that drum roll
for you guys. And because you both come from a military service background, this philosophical question has a little to do with that. And hopefully this doesn't affect any of your service standards or anything like that. It's pretty high level, easy going. But the question is around war, right? Because war is such a ingrained piece of world history. The question I have for each of you, and I'm curious about both of your perspectives, right, is the cost of war. If the cost of war could be solely economic versus the cost of lives lost, would war still be something that you think the world would wage? So there's a lot there to unpack.
If it could only be economic,
yes,
versus lives lost, would we think it would still be waged?
Would you think leaders and countries would still wage war? And because of that, would you think that the military would be as pertinent to countries and governments?
Pardon the pun, but that was definitely a bomb drop. I like this one.
Oh.
I don't know. Yes.
Okay.
If the loss of human life won't stop man from going to war, why would some economic turmoil not stop people from going to war?
No, you're one of the first to answer a question with a question here on Philosophical Grooves. I like that. We love first. What about you, Reggie?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think the answer is yes, and for another reason, because I have a little bit of a flashback to what was taught when we did warfare training, when we would do our our casualty exercises and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's this thing called law of armed conflict. And one of these tenets of the law of armed conflict is to minimize casualties, even when you are waging war. The objective is to take out military targets. So basically, civilians are off target. They're off limits. Don't hit civilians. Don't hit monuments of religious value. So don't hit churches. Don't hit the hospitals and all that kind of stuff. But what happens is that people get a little bit carried away. They don't shoot. They don't shoot straight. So they end up having casualties. Now we're talking about economic casualties. That's what we want anyway. We don't want to shoot anybody, even when we are waging war. So yeah, of course, wars will still be waged if there's only casualty is economics, especially there's power in economics.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the reason for waging war, is to take power away from one entity and give it to another.
Yep.
So here we have it. We've gone from house music into the philosophy of war, and this only happens on the Philosophical Grooves edition of Vintage House. And it's not that we, of course, don't think that there's any correlation, because everything is connected in the universe. And I'm sure, I can't think of a song off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a house song that talks about war. Right?
Well, actually, so there is a slight reference to that, and I'm just going to drop another bomb for you. Be on the lookout for something that has just been re-released by Lenny Fontana, of all people. Back in the 90s, he did a cover of Spread Love. Remember that one?
Yes.
Well, he re-released it again with a new set of remixes, one from him and one from Dr. Packard. It's very timely right about now, especially since we're in this global pandemic thing, because people are losing their bloody minds. So we need some more songs of positivity, and you can't get that much more positive than Spread Love.
That positivity
so there's your cut. That's our closing track.
All right. Well, I was gonna throw one in there, Bostitch by Yellow.
What about Isley Brothers?
Harvest for the World.
Yeah, Harvest.
Yes.
For the World.
Yeah.
Harvest for the World. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Line in there. They're sitting
So we got
all we want is peace. I mean,
Bob Marley
prize come home with the least.
coming from our producer. Yep. So
Bob Marley. Yeah.
Not necessarily house, but we will take it. And so I want to thank you both for coming on to tonight's show. I want to ensure that you have a chance to share again for everyone watching how they can check you out with your various styles, and ultimately follow you when you move and make that transition, which I know you both will, from pure DJ to the hybrid artist, DJ, producer, remixers. So, Drea, where can we hear and watch and experience DJ Drea?
Okay, perfect. So first I'm going to say we still have another thing in common. I live in Chatham now. I didn't grow up in Chatham. I grew up in Jackson Park, but I live here now. So.
Oh, all right.
Fist pump.
Chatham is represented.
Yeah. Right across the street from Duke's. That's my spot. So
nice. Victor Moore. Shout out to Victor Moore, owner of Duke's.
Yep.
Went to grade school with him.
So small world. I mean, it's crazy. So you can, check out my webpage, my website, www.djdrea.com. It has a link to, my SoundCloud, my Mixcloud. I do a Sunday show from my house on my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/DJDreaMusic. And I also provide content for KKC. As I say, my mixes play on Fridays at 4 o'clock. And I also provide content for Future Vision Entertainment. It's an internet radio show. I do clubsteppin.com on Tuesdays, 9 p.m. So I play stepping music or provide stepping content and house music on their housemixtape.com show. And yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, that's a lot. So there's no reason you should miss DJ Drea.
Yep.
All right, over to you, Reggie.
So I basically upload all of my stuff on Mixcloud. I'm starting to do a little bit more with SoundCloud, but for right now, you can still catch a lot of my stuff on Mixcloud. So it'll be on Mixcloud, Reginald L. Davenport. And I actually, this is a reason why 2020 was kind of fabulous for me too. I went from doing 2 shows to doing 4. So I've got a show on WLUW called Club 88.7, where it's just myself and I have guest DJs. So I'm always looking for mixes, not trying to put anybody on the spot or anything, but I can use some more guest mixes. So that's on Thursdays from 10 to midnight. I also provide mixes for ClassicHouseRadio.com. They do the Classic House Radio mix show on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm part of the mix team on Saturdays, and there's also the 10 o'clock mix on Sundays. I also have a show on LWR, London World Radio. That's on Sundays from 4 to 6. That's when I really get it in because I'm trying to entertain the London crowd.
Nice.
And finally, I'm on regular rotation with Rise Up and Rave Radio. That's rawradio.com. That's on Mondays, usually around 11 o'clock. So I'm always uploading those stuff on Mixcloud.
Nice.
So that's where you can find my shows.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. I am going to make sure that we try to get some of those links posted up on the Vintage House Facebook page. Certainly, it has been my pleasure to host you both on tonight's show. I wish you Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you might be celebrating.
Happy Boxing Day too for the UK peeps. Happy Boxing
Day. Thank you for that. Thanks for everyone who tuned in tonight and who tune in regularly for the Vintage House Show here, normally scheduled for 9 p.m. Central Time each Wednesday night. Check out DJ Lori Branch next week on the 30th for the next episode. For Lori, for Lauren, for our intern, Justin, who has been with us for a short while here. I wish you all good night. And again, happy holidays. And thanks for tuning in to the Vintage House Show.
Happy holidays to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sure.
You're very welcome.
Thanks again.
And we are